Well, just the scrimmage, your impressions. Dan said there was a little sloppiness among the receivers, some drops. What did you see?
Same thing. Obviously, you got a group of receivers, and we talked about this afterwards. They're working, but they've got to get better. We talked after practice, and I've mentioned this before. We've got to replace four starting receivers. Two are still in NFL squads right now, and I think our leading returner coming back is Rojo, and he's somewhere in the 20 receptions in his career here. I think Jamion's somewhere probably less than that, and I think Joe's probably in the single digits. So we've got a lot to improve on. As long as they're working, there's room for us to say, hey, we're making these strides where we need to be. But today we had too many drops. We had some balls on the ground, and we had some penalties. I think the biggest thing for us to work on is, the Rojo and Jamion and Joe, they're still learning to be starters. They've never been a starter before at the collegiate level, so they're still learning to be starters. Meanwhile, the freshmen and the other guys, the redshirt freshmen that have never even played, they're still learning to push through. So we've got to work, and we've got to continually push through, and it's coming along, but we had too many mistakes and too many balls on the ground today.
Coach Mullen talked about, obviously, the drop passes, but he said the little things, the blocking was good, and he liked seeing that. How is that process going?
Well, I think one of the things we've talked about in our room and kind of establishing this is, we've said it before, if they don't block, they're not going to play. Plain and simple. You better be able to block first. I don't care who you are. And they're learning the concept of that, and that's our responsibility on the edge to provide that team concept, again, to be able to do that. But we've still got to get better. You're not going to hear me say I'm excited about my guys right now. I'm not as far as where we're at, but I will be when we get going. So we've got a lot of work to go. We've got a lot of work to go. I heard Coach Mullen tell you, we're still in the middle of finals, and guys are taking finals right now, and we'll finish up. And Saturday will really be our first day to really get after it as far as camp. We're still working. This is camp, but as far as really pushing with the two-a-days. But lots of room for improvement out of my group for sure.
Can you talk about Moro and his increasing role as a top target as he returns?
He's got to be a top target for the simple reason is we don't have any of those guys from last year. So he's worked. He had a really good summer, and he's continually making those plays right now. Yesterday we did some one-on-ones, and I was excited because he was making the plays. The one thing that I do appreciate about Joe is when we're on the football field is he does have a lot of emotion, and I think you need some guys around you that have some juice and that can push. Not everybody has to be that way, but you do need some guys. In my opinion, football is a game of passion. These guys are. I want that in my group, and he has that. So, but he's making strides. He's got a long way to go still, just like all of them. But he's making strides, and again, he's still learning to be a starter.
Well, what do you like about his tools? He looks like the prototypical big receiver that can get it done downfield. What do you see with that?
Heck, we're 6-7 days into it right now still, and for a scrimmage. So we'll grade it. I'll grade it after the practice, and we'll go through and we'll see what the positives, what the negatives were. But he's a big target. He's got to consistently learn how to play big. I've seen a lot of big receivers play small. When I play small, it means I'm catching the ball here versus high pointing it and going up and getting the ball. So
sure.
As long as he continues to play big, that's what he needs to do to increase his touches.
Does Jamion